I'm Plami, and here we are again. I honestly, personally, really love this episode. There's a lot that I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, similar to what I did for episode 18, because for some reason everybody and their fucking mother seem to hate that episode, I just have to rant a little bit about the stupid Walking Dead fandom. Or at least part of it. I don't know at this point. I don't know. Because, like, it's everywhere. This hate and constant whining and criticism, undeserved, by the way, for The Walking Dead, is everywhere. There's no safe space from it anymore. Facebook is like that, from what I remember a few years ago. YouTube is also pretty infested with it. And Reddit is not even that safe, even in the subreddit for The Walking Dead. Like, there's literally no place for me to go to actually discuss these episodes in a reasonable manner and not with just a bunch of crybabies who constantly whine when they don't get what they wanted. It's just infuriating at this point. I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired. People again are bashing this episode because, I mean, that seems to be the only common thing between those two episodes, but because it focuses on a woman. Like, I don't even want to play this card that it's a bunch of misogynists or something like that, but that seems to be the case, especially when you look at the IMDb ratings, because it's already been fucking review bombed, and when you go on the IMDb page for the episode, you can look at the specific ages and genders of people who have voted for the ratings of the episode, and for some reason, middle-aged men and above fucking hate this episode. I don't understand it. Why does it trigger you so much? Why? What's your problem with this episode? I haven't seen one actual reason why this episode is bad. Or actually, no, I've seen one. But even then, knowing that these are bonus episodes and that they're meant to be filler, did you expect that much more? Of course, we weren't going to get that much from the actual Commonwealth. So, why are you putting such expectations on an episode that has told you that it was not going to do something like that? And it's not like we actually didn't get anything about the Commonwealth in this episode. We kind of got a little bit of a tease for them from that soldier that Princess had captured. He told us that they're supposed to be the good guys, and yes, in the big realm of the episode, we can know for sure whether that interaction between Princess and the soldier really happened. But still, they wouldn't include it like that if it wasn't supposed to be true. Because otherwise, there is genuinely no point of the episode. So I choose to believe that what he said and what they talked about was true. They are supposed to be the good guys, and they're just going through typical procedures when they meet new groups, you know? But yeah, I just don't understand this fandom anymore. AMC has clearly spelled out that these episodes are gonna be filler episodes, bonus episodes, that we wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for COVID, that are going to be character focused, expanding on backstories, or exploring new stories with existing characters, as we had with Gabriel, Maggie, Aaron, and Daryl and Carol. And yet people still freaking whine. Why? Why? I feel like The Walking Dead has gotten to be under such a heavy scrutiny that the smallest misstep is fucking scrutinized to all hell. And I feel like The Walking Dead also is being criticized for what it's not for what it is. Like for example, this episode, because it's features the group that got captured by the Commonwealth, everybody expected, I would say stupidly, that we were gonna get a lot of stuff about the Commonwealth. Which, yeah, we did get some stuff about the Commonwealth. We did. So I don't understand why you're complaining, because it's bonus episodes. Of course, we weren't going to get a lot of stuff or the big stuff about the Commonwealth until season 11. Because if we were going to be able to do that, they wouldn't have done the bottle episodes. They would have just started doing season 11 instead. And to those people who claim that this episode is filler, first of all, I don't think you understand the meaning of the word filler. Because there could be a couple different definitions. Filler could mean an episode that does a story that doesn't exist in the source material of the thing that you're adapting. So by that logic, a lot of the stuff that has happened in The Walking Dead could be considered filler. Yet some of those things are some of the best episodes The Walking Dead has ever done, like that famous episode from season 3, Clear. That's a filler episode, and yet people fucking love it. Or that episode with Morgan from season 6, I believe it's called Here's Not Here. That's a filler episode, but people love it as well. So not all filler is bad. I would say, by and large, filler is not bad for a show like The Walking Dead. I can understand that you're frustrated that there's so much filler at one point in the show and in the season or whatever, but again, this is not your typical season of The Walking Dead. This is an extended additional 6 episodes that weren't originally planned to be part of the season, that weren't even originally planned to exist anyway. They wouldn't have been a thing if it wasn't for COVID-19. So to complain about something like this, it's incredibly stupid in my opinion, and unfair towards the show. If you don't like it that much that you cannot control your anger against it and whine against it so much, then maybe you should stop watching the show, you know? Because I'm so tired of all the hate and criticism that The Walking Dead is getting everywhere online. It's like as if The Walking Dead went into everybody's homes and killed their freaking grandparents or something. Like, I don't understand why does it get that much hate. It's not that bad of a show to deserve this kind of hate. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. It's the same shit with directors like Zack Snyder and his Justice League, which I really enjoyed watching and I might do a review of at some point, but it's the same shit. There's some things that the internet just picks and just continues to hate for no reason whatsoever. I don't get it. If you don't like something, why would you waste your time hating on it so much? It's just baffling to me. But yeah, I'm sorry about the rant. Hopefully you still enjoyed hearing me ranting. Let's get into my actual thoughts for this episode. So, when the episode started off, I was a little worried that it was going to be an episode that focuses mainly on Princess, and that it was just going to be a lot of heart-to-heart between the characters. So I was, in like the first 5 to 10 minutes, I was a little bored because of that, because that's what I thought the episode was going to be like. But then we started to see her, to learn a little bit more about Princess and about her backstory, and she started to actually do some stuff in the episode and try to escape and try to think of ways how to escape the soldiers and just try to plan out what they're going to do next. And that started to be really cool to see. We got the interaction, or interrogation should I say, from the Commonwealth of her, to kind of get the idea of what these soldiers want to know about them, like who they are, where they're from. And I feel like that maybe teases a little bit something about the Commonwealth that the people who have read the comics would recognize, because I believe the interrogator asks her what was she doing before the fall happened, or something like what was she working back before the fall happened, which, if that is the case, exactly what he asked, then that would be definitely a tease from the comic book, because in the comic book, and spoiler alerts, skip 30 seconds or a minute, in the comic book, Commonwealth is revealed as a society which has a very rigid structure, and what you were doing in the before the apocalypse happened, that's what you get to do in this society. So let's say you were a lawyer, you're gonna be a lawyer in Commonwealth. If you were I don't know, farmer. You get to be farmer in the Commonwealth, but you don't have a choice about what you're gonna be doing. It's what you were doing beforehand that you're gonna be doing now. Or at least that's what I think it is. I haven't really read the comic book. I've just kind of read the Wikipedia page, and that's what I've gotten from it. So that's an interesting tease about it. And I did think that scene with the interrogation was actually pretty tense and interesting. I did enjoy it. And also that shower scene where they were looking at Princess's naked body. Due to the nature of the episode, we don't know whether that and a lot of the things in this episode actually happened. But I'd say that it's probably something that happened, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but it kind of showed a bad side to the Commonwealth, maybe a little bit too bad, so maybe it's not a thing that happened. I don't know, I guess we're gonna find out when we get into season 11. But I would say for me the episodes really started going once we got Ezekiel getting into Princess's train car. And that is when I kinda got exactly what the episode is actually about, because the second we saw Ezekiel show up, I mean, there was something off about him. I personally was surprised by how much I actually enjoyed seeing him. Like, I didn't realize how much I actually missed seeing him, because we haven't seen him since episode 16, and we didn't really even see him too much in that episode, because that episode was mostly about the end of the Whispers, not about them meeting the Commonwealth. So I really enjoyed seeing him again in this episode, but his behavior was a little bit more erratic and angry than your typical Ezekiel. So that kind of was like, made me think like, could that not be happening really? Because I feel like the Commonwealth, from what I knew from the comics, isn't really that bad. They wouldn't be doing something like this, like the naked scene in the shower. I feel like that would have been a little bit too much by them. So when I saw that the soldier who got inside the train car to give food to Princess didn't see Ezekiel, and then Ezekiel shows up out of nowhere and just smacks him in the face, that pretty much spelled it out that it was a hallucination. But damn, did I not enjoy seeing this imaginary Ezekiel. He was so badass. He was such a hilarious and amazing badass. Like, he was such a fun character to see in this episode. And I love how in that scene, as they are interrogating the soldier, and I gotta say, a lot of the dialogue in that scene was super compelling. I really enjoyed the dialogue between the soldier and Princess and Ezekiel. And it gave us a lot of interesting information about the Commonwealth, that they're not the bad guys. Supposedly, at least. And I just really love how Ezekiel is beating him up, and then it switches the perspective to Princess actually beating him up. I kind of thought that when Ezekiel and Princess were sitting in the train car and talking to each other, I feel like it was maybe a little bit too blatant that both of them were sitting in the exact same position. I felt like that was maybe a little bit too blatant, but that's pretty much the second I was like, that might mean that this is a dream sequence or a hallucination, and it was. So I kind of anticipated it. I feel like maybe that's why I enjoyed this episode so much more than a lot of people, because I caught on to the hallucination part of the plot early on, so I was able to appreciate the hallucinations much more than being confused if I didn't know what was actually happening, which might be what a lot of people experienced. But I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the hate for this episode, even if you don't like it, or if you're tired of the famous Walking Dead trope about hallucinations, which is something that they've done so many times, and they've already done 3 times in this season. Even if you're tired of that, I feel like it still doesn't deserve for you to hate this episode. Like, even if you're tired of that trope, I think this episode actually did the hallucination trope much better than other episodes in this season, like Look at the Flowers, which I think was very lazy and dumb. way to do the trope. I much would have preferred to have Carol actually have that conversation with Alpha, not have a conversation with like an imaginary version of Alpha. Or in that earlier episode in the season, which was, I believe, episode 3, Ghosts. I think that was actually a pretty good take on this example, because it was more about not knowing what's real and what's not, which is kind of what we did in this episode. But I feel like in this episode, it makes sense for Princess's character to have these kind of hallucinations, while for Carol, back in episode 3, it was still explained really well, but it doesn't really feel as fitting for her character as it does with Princess, because by the episode that we saw her introduced, I believe it was episode 15, we already saw her like right off the bat that she's a little crazy and not right in the head. So as she says in this episode, she has a lot of mental issues, mental disorders like ADHD, depression, PTSD, and all those stuff that you would get in the post-apocalyptic world. It makes sense, considering also the abuse that she has had as a child, that she would be hallucinating this kind of stuff. And for me, the hallucinations especially works in this episode because it feels like an allegory for what the experience of a person would be in this kind of situation, like a normal person without any mental issues like Princess. Because in a situation like this, you would not know whether you should trust what the soldiers are telling you. You wouldn't know whether it would be safe for you to actually answer their questions and tell the truth. You wouldn't know whether they are telling the truth or whether they're lying. And you wouldn't know whether to trust your senses and to trust your instincts, which is kind of what this episode is about, not trusting your eyes and ears, not knowing what's real. So for me, that actually really, really works. And it's a cool way to get introspective of a character. In this episode, we learned about the backstory of Princess and how she has been abused by her dad and her mom not really protecting her from that and just running away. We learned that she has been very lonely for a long time, and that she is really happy to have met people who actually appreciate her, and she's not willing to leave them alone because they are the first people in such a long time that have actually been nice to her and understanding to her and friendly to her. So I love how even the episode says that she says in the episode that a week is a lifetime in the post-apocalypse. It's a really cool and true line, and shows how much of a bond she has developed with these characters. I really liked it. Would I have preferred something different? Maybe, but this episode is still good for what it is, you know. And around one of the last scenes with the hallucinations, when she tries to run away and sees Ezekiel outside of the train yard, I gotta say that was a really funny scene, seeing Ezekiel standing around with these walkers who just are dressed so funny and are just standing in a funny way. It's kind of like taking that joke from the 15th episode when we got introduced to Princess, with her making all these walkers do funny stuff. And it's kind of like a continuation of that kind of joke. And it was really funny because Ezekiel laughed his ass off in that episode. So it was cool to see that. And also, for those of you who didn't catch it, in that scene, we actually have the walkers talk. When Princess says, "They came back for me," the walker repeats that. And it's really cool because I guess you could say it's a callback to the Whisperers. When I watched it, I joked to myself, saying, "Oh, so we are getting actual Whisperers next season, I guess." Because it's a little funny. I really like that. And that pretty much spells it out that this is a hallucination. And yeah, ultimately I would say my favorite thing about this episode was definitely the interaction between Princess and the soldier. I just find the dialogue in that whole sequence, and especially the dialogue by that soldier, to be super compelling. And it was so interesting to see his performance and the things that he said to her. I don't know, it was just super compelling to me, and I really liked it. And I just also love the line by Princess that the Commonwealth soldiers are just action figures come to life, acknowledging how stupid and ridiculous and over the top they look like, because a lot of people have joked that they look like the stormtroopers and have used this as an attack towards the Walking Dead, that it has like jumped the shark or some other bullshit. It's another way to shit on the Walking Dead, that it has gone off the rails and blah blah blah. But I love that the episode actually acknowledges that and pokes fun at it. And I gotta say, overall for this episode, it really reminded me of Season 9. When I watched Season 9 at first, there was such a renewed feeling of excitement that The Walking Dead is back, and it's better than ever, and it's moving in a very new, exciting and new direction. And then Season 10 came, and I feel like we slowed right back down to where we were before Season 9. Not necessarily in terms of quality, because I still think it was very entertaining and so much better than Season 7 and 8. But I feel like it was speeding up in Season 9, and in Season 10 it kind of slowed back down, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't really enjoy Season 10 as much as Season 9, but I still think it's one of the best seasons of The Walking Dead, if I gotta be honest. And this episode made me feel exactly the same way as I did for Season 9. It makes me excited about the next two episodes, especially the Negan episodes, which I was already excited about, but now I have a renewed excitement for it, and especially for Season 11 and seeing where it's going to go, and just seeing where The Walking Dead as a franchise is going to go going forward. Because I'm also super excited about Fear the Walking Dead's second half of Season 6, and I can't wait for that. If I gotta be honest, maybe more than the rest of Season 10C, but I still enjoy it. So yeah, I can understand how some people might feel like in this episode nothing happened because a lot of the sequences were hallucinations. But again, I feel like the fact that we got character development about Princess, it's not nothing. It's something. And for me personally, from the perspective of which I'm watching this show, which is that for me, the plot of The Walking Dead is surviving. That's the plot. Surviving in the post-apocalypse. So anything that revolves around that, like looking for supplies, dealing with the sickness, like in Season 4's first half, or doing all these little bottle stories in Season 10C, that's part of the plot of The Walking Dead for me. It doesn't have to be constant new groups and getting more information about new groups for the plot to be moved forward. For me, any little small story in The Walking Dead moves the plot forward for me, because for me the plot is just survival. I want to see the world of the post-apocalypse, how humanity survives. Because like the whole concept of The Walking Dead is that it's what happens after the zombie movie. There's no point to have any of these stories if you're not going to have any downtime or bottle episodes with little events or adventures that the characters go on in between the bigger plots. Like The Walking Dead doesn't have to be all about the bigger plots and the bigger groups and everything for it to be good. That's kind of my point. But yeah, I'm sorry if this review was a little bit like rambly, but it's just whenever I'm pissed off about something, I can't really be as straightforward in my thoughts as I want to, because every time I try to say something, I'm just infuriated by the people who try to discredit my opinion and who just try to ruin the enjoyment for people who actually enjoy it. Because like there's plenty of stuff that I hate personally as well. I hate Marvel, but I don't go to the Marvel subreddit whenever a new movie is released and whine about how bad it is and how much it's not like what I want. Like, if you don't like something, stop watching it and move on with your life. That's what you should do. And I'm honestly very scared about what's gonna happen in the next episode even, considering what's gonna happen after the next episode is released, because from what I've heard, it's the worst episode of these 6 episodes, and considering that it's focusing on Daryl and Carol again, people are gonna hate it because they hated the last episode. They seem to be hating this episode. It's just like, it's not really fun to be a Walking Dead fan at this point, because no matter whose video I go to watch, no matter whose opinion I decide to listen to, they all fucking bash the show undeservedly. Because, like, yes, I'm a huge fan of The Walking Dead. Sometimes I might be blinded by my love for the show, but I feel like even if you look at it from an objective standpoint, you have to acknowledge what the writers were intending to do with the episode, and whether they did it right or not, and whether they succeeded in making what they intended to do. Because by that logic, even if you didn't enjoy this episode, you have to acknowledge that it's no worse than like a 7 out of 10, because the writers succeeded in what they wanted to do. They wanted to explore Princess's characters while giving us some information about the next group that our main group is going to be facing off against, I guess. And they did it. They did it. They made me excited for the Commonwealth. What else do you want the episode to do? Like, I seriously don't understand. Don't people realize that these are supposed to be bonus episodes? I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't. And I feel like even once we get to season 11 and we get to the actual Walking Dead episodes, there's still gonna be some reason to complain or criticize it, and people are still gonna do that, because no matter what, people hate The Walking Dead. It's just a thing that the internet has decided to hate, and nothing's gonna change that, because there was hate for the show back in season 7 and 8, which I defended a lot. There was hate in season 9, like for the finale, as if nothing happened, even though it was like the first Walking Dead episode in snow, so that wasn't exciting for your dumb monkey brains. But no, there's gotta be action, there's gotta be shooting for the episode to be enjoyable. Is that right? I mean, I don't know. I love this episode. Fuck anybody who whines about how bad this episode was, or how nothing happened, even though not much was supposed to happen and a lot actually happened when it comes to the characters. Because I'm fucking tired. I'm fucking tired. I'm really happy to hear any actual genuine criticism that we can discuss with you guys. But if all you have for the show is blind hate, or just surface level arguments like the acting was bad, nothing happened, without actually delving into what didn't work for you or what you wanted to happen in the episode, and like coming up with your own version of the episode, essentially, it's like there's no point with discussing it with you, because whenever I watch something and I don't enjoy it, I can come up with what I would have wanted to see done differently. Like, for example, with the last episode, I didn't super enjoy it when I first watched it, as I said in my review, but it did grow on me afterwards. But I still wish it was done a little bit more differently, like, for example, having Robert Patrick coming to the episode earlier and having a bigger expanded role in the episode than what he got, and maybe not kill him in that scene. And I wish they actually would have kept him for a few episodes at least. Like, I can come up with alternative ways the episode could have been done. You should be able to do that too, because that's much more healthy way of discussion than just, oh, this is bad, I don't like that, but not explaining why you don't like that and how it should have been done for you to like it, you know. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. I love this episode. Personally, I will give it an 8.4 out of 10. Which I think is a more fair score compared to what I gave maybe the last 2 episodes. Because I did give that episode with Darren Carroll 10 out of 10, and visually it was a 10 out of 10, but maybe could have had a little bit more substance to it, or content, because I still really, really liked it, but it does feel a little bit empty. And for the Gabriel and Aaron episode, I feel like it relies too much on the shock value at the end, and there's not much substance in the first half of the episodes, even though, again, I love the visuals about it, and I gave that episode a 9 out of 10. While for this episode, I feel like it has the most substance and the most characters, but I'm giving it the lowest score, so I feel like this might be the fairest one. But honestly, I could give it like an 10 out of 10 as well, especially because a lot of people seem to be review bombing it on IMDb because for some reason everybody hates the show. But yeah, you know what? I'm actually gonna give this episode a 9.4 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed it, and I will be happy to rewatch it again. It was that good of an episode. Like, this is the first time in a long time after watching an episode of The Walking Dead that I genuinely wanted to rewatch it right off the bat. I almost forgot to say that. I genuinely wanted to rewatch it again. But that's probably not gonna happen for a while. And for a lot of these episodes, at some point in the future, whenever I am doing a rewatch on The Walking Dead, I might do re-reviews or second thoughts on these episodes if I have second thoughts about them, but I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, for this episode, I'm giving it a 9.4 out of 10. What do you guys think about the episode? Make sure to comment down below. I'll be happy to see your opinions. Hopefully, we're gonna have some things to discuss in the comments, but if it's not, that's fine as well. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories. Because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you ever enjoy my stories or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon where you can pledge your support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!